Good day, students. I'm Miss Samantha, your spiritual care and guidance and community involvement animator, and we're here today to talk about courage. So we're going to talk about courage today. And first off, what do you think courage means? Think about it for a second in your mind or in your heart. What is courage? And while we're speaking of the heart, what's the word in French for heart? Is it cerveau? Mm-mm. Cœur, right? And so cœur and courage comes from that word heart. And courage is that willingness to work through obstacles, through challenges, despite feeling embarrassment, fear, reluctance, or uncertainty. So when you practice courage, you make positive choices, even when it may be difficult for you. It's kind of thinking about like your heart making those decisions. And it's going to be difficult. It's very often difficult to be courageous because you have to overcome fear. You have to overcome embarrassment potentially. You have to be okay with still willing to act and work through things like uncertainty. You don't know what the outcome will be, and that can be really scary. So, courage, it comes from the heart, and it's that willingness to work through things when we feel scared and afraid and nervous or embarrassed. So it comes from fear, right? Like there needs to be that fear within us to show courage, whether it's fear of embarrassment or fear of uncertainty, but fear is that key element. So take a moment right now and think about the last time you felt afraid. Maybe getting on a roller coaster or watching a scary movie or someone jumped out at you, or maybe it was a test was put in front of you, or you had to give a presentation in front of class, or you went to a party where you didn't know anyone. Think about the last time you felt afraid and think about what it felt like in your body. How did you know you felt fear? So we're going to watch this video of what fear feels like in our body. So it's our body on fear. And so just take a moment, get your mindful bodies, get your listening ears on, and we're going to watch this film.
Your heart and thoughts race. Your palms sweat. Your stomach churns. You're afraid. This is your body on fear. Fear evolved in humans to protect us. When you're scared, your brain sets off an elaborate and coordinated response, even if there's no threat. These physical changes, from deep inside your brain all the way to the muscles in your legs, happen in seconds. That's because of your sympathetic nervous system, or your fight or flight response. It's part of your autonomic nervous system, which manages reflexes like breathing, digestion, and your heartbeat. Fear kicks your fight or flight response into overdrive. Your adrenal glands secrete adrenaline. Blood flow decreases to your brain's frontal lobe, which is responsible for logical thinking and planning. Your amygdala, a more animalistic part of your brain, takes over. Your heart rate and blood pressure increase. You breathe faster and your muscles tense up. Your pupils dilate so you can see the threat more clearly. Blood flows away from your extremities, making your hands cold and clammy and making you feel flushed and sweaty. Your digestion slows down. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. That's why your fight or flight response kicks in during things like public speaking or being in a crowd. To your fear response, you're always running from a predator in the woods. It's just trying to keep you alive.
So fear does so much to our body, right? When we feel fear, and it's not there to make our life horrible, right? It's there to keep us safe. Like that old reason for having fear and why it does those things that it does to our body was to give us the energy that we needed to run away from something, from a threat that could pose danger to us, or to fight it if we had to, right? And so today, though, that same response is triggered inside our brain as like a scary animal coming to attack us, when we have to speak publicly sometimes, or when we have a test put in front of us, or we get like a message from maybe someone we have a crush on, or a friend, or we have to talk with someone about something that's not comfortable. We get that same feeling of fear. And so, what happens to our brain is called flipping our lid. So, we're going to imagine right now our hand, so you can do it with me, is your brain. So, this is your spinal cord, okay, and then this is your brain. This is the front of your brain, okay, and then so the base and our spinal cord. So, what happens is like inside, okay, this is our amygdala. The inside inner part of our brain, it's where all these feelings come from, our big feelings. And what happens is like those feelings can take over and they can light up and like all the blood rushes to it. And what happens is this part of our brain, the cerebral cortex and the prefrontal cortex, it's our thinking brain. It's kind of what makes us human. So it's like a wild animal inside us. And then our human, our thinking and our talking, right? And so what happens sometimes is those big feelings triggers that inner part of our brain, that animal part of our brain, and we flip our lid. We just like that thinking part is just so hard to access because our feeling part is just taking over of our whole body, our whole system. So, not in this video, but in a later one, we're going to learn about some ways of how we can get that lid back on and how to have a calm mind and how our thinking and our talking and our feeling brain can all be working together. Okay? It's not easy, it takes practice, but we're going to do this together. So, that's the end of our first video, and we're going to have our next video and then our third video. So, this will be a 3-part series on courage. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video.